Welcome to the series, where we bring you the most amazing scary stories from around the web. In today's episode, we have a story that'll make sure you never stay at a secluded cabin alone again. Make sure to leave a like rating on this episode, and if you're new here, hit subscribe so you can be notified every time we upload a new story. Let's begin. Some time ago, a news article popped up on my feed. Apparently, a guy named Caleb had disappeared while staying at a vacation rental in West Virginia. All signs pointed to foul play, but his body or any trace of his presence has never been recovered. The police gave up on the case about 2 years ago, and now it's just a cold case. That got me thinking that with how many Airbnbs and vacation rentals there are, how many people disappear without a trace? How many people come to harm in these isolated places? Maybe more than we'd like to admit. Hi, I'm your host. Today I'm bringing you a story about the last guest. There's a cabin deep in the Appalachian woods that nobody rents twice. Not because it's dirty or expensive or anything like that, but because no one ever really leaves. This story was submitted by a man named Caleb, a solo traveler, who booked that exact cabin for a quiet weekend away from everything. He should have known something was wrong the moment he stepped inside. The door creaked open to reveal a musty interior. A lone armchair sat beside a crackling fireplace and the floorboards groaned under his feet. Outside, heavy rain lashed against the windows. "This place is creepy," he says, "but maybe it's just the storm." He shook off the uneasy feeling and started to explore. Down the hall, he found a kitchen stocked with everything a guest might need. Pots and pans hung from the walls. Coffee mugs lined the cupboards and spices filled the shelves. It felt like a second home. A wave of relief washed over him. "At least I won't be bored here," he says, smiling. As night fell, he made himself comfortable. He built a fire, made some tea, and settled into the armchair. Suddenly, a gust of wind rattled the cabin. He jumped, knocking over the table. In the commotion, something caught his eye. A leather-bound book lay beside the bed, its pages open to reveal faded ink. "What's this doing here?" he wondered aloud. Caleb picked up the journal and began to read. It was filled with neat, looping handwriting. The entries detailed all aspects of the cabin, from the squeaky stairs to the leaky faucet. But what unnerved him the most were the warnings scrawled across each page. "Don't trust the silence," one read. "It's listening." Another warned of shadows that danced in the corner of your eye. "They want you to see them," it said. Then, a sentence repeated on almost every page. "Whatever you do, do not look out the window after dark." Intrigued and a little frightened, Caleb continued reading. He devoured the journal cover to cover, learning every secret, every nook and cranny of the house. As the clock ticked past midnight, he felt a chill. Should he take the warnings seriously? Was it just an overdramatic diary, or something more sinister? Caleb decided he deserved an answer. He slowly rose from his seat and crept closer to the window. Rain poured down, blurring the world outside. Taking a deep breath, he peered into the darkness. For a moment, nothing. Then, a flicker of movement. Something stood outside the window, silhouetted against the stormy night. Startled, he stumbled back. What he had seen couldn't be human. It was too still, too motionless. Was it watching him? Caleb rushed to lock the door, his heart pounding. But it was too late. Whatever was outside was in now. Panic surged through him. He searched for an escape. But the windows were barred, and the doors were chained. Trapped, he curled up on the floor, hugging the journal for comfort. Suddenly, a noise from outside. Heavy footsteps pounded against the door. Startled, Caleb cowered in the corner. The footsteps stopped, then started again, louder this time. They scratched and clawed at the door, demanding entry. Fearful, Caleb squeezed his eyes shut, wishing for the nightmare to end. Just as suddenly as it began, the scratching stopped. Silence filled the room, thick and heavy. Then a soft tapping sound reached his ears. It seemed to come from the window. Caleb peeked through a crack. Standing outside was the same motionless figure from before, but now it was smiling. A wide, grotesque smile that stretched ear to ear. One finger pressed against the glass, tracing patterns, counting seconds. Caleb watched in horror as the finger moved away, then returned. Again and again it tapped, keeping time with an unseen beat. With each tap, fear gnawed at Caleb. What was this creature? Why was it tormenting him? Driven by desperation, he dashed to the fireplace. Empty, the logs had burned out long ago. He rummaged through the cupboards, searching for anything to ward off the creature outside. Finding nothing, he returned to the window. The tapping had stopped. Peering out, he saw the creature was gone. Relief washed over him, followed by a surge of anger. He flung the window open, screaming into the darkness, but his voice was lost in the wind. Then he heard a noise behind him. Slowly, he turned. In the fireplace, a log shifted, then another. The flames returned, casting flickering shadows on the wall, but it was the reflection in the hearth that caught Caleb's eye. It was the creature from outside, its face twisted in a mocking grin. Caleb stumbled back, knocking over a chair. The creature advanced, its grin widening. Reaching out, it touched the flame, and the reflection vanished. Caleb screamed again, but this time his voice held a note of triumph. He had outsmarted the creature, and so the battle continued throughout the night. With each sunrise, Caleb grew weaker. Sleep eluded him. Hunger gnawed at his stomach, and thirst parched his throat. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, he was a shadow of his former self. Just as he thought he couldn't endure another moment, the tapping began again. Caleb rushed to the window. There it was, the creature, beckoning with a finger. At first he hesitated, torn between fear and curiosity. But the creature didn't wait. It stepped aside, revealing a figure standing in the doorway. Caleb stared in disbelief as the creature gestured hesitantly. He opened the door. The creature stepped aside, ushering him out. Caleb hesitated, then took a step forward. The creature smiled, revealing a set of sharp, pointed teeth. Caleb screamed, but his voice was drowned out by the wind. He stumbled forward, falling to his knees in the mud. The creature loomed over him, its grin splitting its face. Caleb looked up, meeting its gaze. It leaned closer, its hot breath washing over him, whispering, "You're home now." Morning arrived, bringing with it a sense of peace to the woods. Birds chirped merrily, sunlight streamed through the trees, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. But the tranquility was shattered by the sight of a lone figure lying on the forest floor. His name was Caleb. He had succumbed to the creature's allure, leaving the safety of the cabin for a fate worse than captivity. His journey from curious renter to the creature's plaything was a tale of curiosity and despair. His disappearance a grim reminder of the dangers that lurk in the darkest corners of our world. The cabin remained, shrouded in mystery and whispers of the supernatural. Its weathered walls and darkened windows, a silent testament to the horrors that unfolded within. Those who dared venture near could feel the weight of Caleb's tragedy, a somber reminder to stay away. For some wounds run deeper than skin, and some secrets are best left buried. After Caleb's disappearance, the cabin stood abandoned, a looming silhouette against the backdrop of gnarled trees and dense foliage. It became a local legend, its reputation preceding it like a premonition. The locals spoke of it in hushed tones, their words carrying the weight of unspoken fears. Rumors swirled, weaving tales of a malevolent entity that resided within its confines, preying on the unsuspecting souls that dared to enter. The very walls seemed to whisper stories of torment and despair, echoing the fading screams of those lost to its clutch. It stood as a stark reminder of the darkness that could consume even the brightest of spirits, leaving behind only echoes and despair. If you enjoyed this episode, then make sure to check out part 2 of this story time where ILLB. Thanks for watching and happy haunting.